the FPEA. I'm Sue Trombino, and we are really excited as we're bringing all these incredible guests with us today. And we have an incredible friend here, Keith Flaugh with Florida Citizens Alliance. And Keith, thanks so much for joining us here at WIN. And I just want our audience to know what you do, because you are doing an incredible job with education and, here in Florida. So tell people about you and what you're doing with the Florida Citizens Alliance.
Well, it's not about me. It's about Florida Citizens Alliance, and it's about rescuing our kids from government schools. In Florida, we have about 3 million kids in government schools. 50% of them, believe it or not, cannot read and do math at grade level. Those are not our numbers. Those are based on U.S. News and World Report on national tests. So
say that again. How many?
50% of our kids cannot read or do math at grade level based on U.S. News and World Report, ACT, SAT tests.
Wow.
Last spring, the Department of Education in Florida, they did what was called the FSA, the Florida Standards Assessment Test, for third graders. 75% of our third graders in Florida cannot read at a level 4 or 5. And now when you couple that with all of the indoctrination that's taking place, we've gone to great lengths over the last 6 years. We have 2 major studies where the most recent one, where we've actually documented the pornography and the LGBTQ content in all of our counties. Folks can go to our website and goflca.org.
I was going to say, tell them again. It's
goflca.org. And under the legislative tab, we came up with a really creative title for this. We call it our porn report. But quite literally, our lawyer insisted we put a disclaimer on it so we didn't get accused of distributing pornography, yet it's in our public schools. So we've been fighting that this last legislative cycle. We have a team headed by a young mom who's a civil rights attorney. We evaluated over 85 bills going through the legislative cycle.
Wow.
We ended up concluding that 19 of those were really bills we strongly supported. As it turns out, 8 of those got passed. There are really some good bills that passed this legislative cycle.
Good.
Everybody has probably heard about the school choice bill, House Bill 1. It was a good bill, and we did support it. We worked really hard to try to make it better. If you're a homeschool family, the bill has a significant impact on homeschool families. Today, before this bill, if you're a homeschool family, you're really very unregulated. Now, if you take the money, and you don't have to, but if you take the money, you now have to take government tests. And government tests are always driven by teach to the test, right? Mm-hmm. So over time, our fear, and I think we'll see where it pans out, is that you now have a much stronger government control, not only in public schools, but private schools and homeschool. But there were some other really good bills. Your listeners will probably remember last year a bill called Parents' Rights in Education, which the left labeled Don't Say Gay bill.
Oh, yes.
K through 3. That's what it was focused on last year. This year, we've put a lot of energy into this, pre-K all the way to 8th grade.
That's so good.
And what's really more impressive about that bill is, so it prevents classroom instruction on gender dysphoria, but what it also does is it describes in law that your sex is related to your chromosomes, full stop, okay?
Wow.
And then it goes on to say that anybody in government agencies, which include schools and contractors in schools, cannot use any pronouns other than their chromosome-related pronoun. So all of this gender dysphoria is now prohibited under law because the governor signed that bill last week. So some good stuff going on. There are other bills we could go through. There was an anti-union bill that now makes teachers pay their own dues rather than having the school districts collect them through.
Oh, that's good.
So that's huge because now
you're
going to have to sit down as a teacher on a monthly basis and write a check to the union, which will now hopefully cause more teachers to say, why am I writing this check?
Exactly.
So a lot of good things. But at the end of the day, I'm not shy about saying that our public schools are union-driven government monopolies. They are not repairable. They are Marxist, driven by the Marxist unions.
Yes.
And so if you really want to have your child with a decent set of moral character and values, we really encourage you to homeschool is great, but it's not for everybody. But we're looking for people who are willing to start one-room schoolhouses, minis,
Yes,
micros.
tell our audience what are the 4 different. I know you've looked at a couple different types of curriculum, and tell because I think it's awesome what you're doing.
We've actually partnered with 5 different organizations. Many of your listeners who are in the homeschool world will recognize Classical Conversations.
Yes,
they're a great model. They're very structured, and their value to the marketplace is community. We've partnered with My Father's World, which is a turnkey operation where you're actually putting, as an example, 4-year-olds in the same classroom up to 3rd graders. So now, rather than public schools, which break these kids down into grade levels, and they never learn to respect each other, right? This now they're in the same classroom learning from each other.
that's awesome.
And older kids teaching younger kids. So, and by the way, My Father's World, if you go through all 12 years of their program, your child will have read the entire Bible 3 times.
Wow.
And they don't plug scripture into the side; they integrate it into each of the, the teaching points. So
that's
it's an excellent
wonderful.
program. And we FACE, Foundation for American
Yes.
Christian Education.
I'm
They
familiar
have
with that. I homeschooled my son
right,
with that.
yeah. They have an excellent NOAA program, as you may
Yes.
remember. But the real value and the reason that we're excited about working with them is they teach educators how to teach a biblical worldview.
Yes.
That's so important. And we've got surveys that show that 60% of our teachers in Christian schools are not teaching a Christian worldview.
That's the Nehemiah Institute does that, with that.
Nine
yes.
Institute with Dan Smithwick.
Dan
Right,
Smithwick,
right.
yes,
So
that's awesome.
Those we also work with Freedom Project Academy, which is a virtual classical faith-based school, but it's virtual.
Okay.
So if you've got mobile families, it's particularly attractive to mobile construction workers, migrants, military, right? It's an excellent program,
that's great.
very well accredited. And then you have the last one. We're just starting to work with Discover, and they actually are working with. To some parents, accreditation is really important. They want that at accreditation diploma. They're working with Christian universities, and they can provide you if that's important to you. Rather than in the homeschool world, you really don't get a diploma, right? I mean, you can write one up, but it's not. But if that's important to you, then Discover brings that to the table. So again, we have 5 of them, all very faith-based, classical education, each with a little bit of different value. So if you're a group of families and want to start a mini or a learning center, you have some choice, but you're going to have to sit down and make some decisions about what you want to do. And then we have ambassadors we're training to come alongside you to help you.
Oh, that's awesome. And then the one school, the schoolhouse, right? You're doing that with, are you working with churches with that or?
Well, we hope to work with churches.
Yeah,
we hope to work with churches.
That's a big hope, but that's okay.
A lot of pastors are resistant to this. And I ran into a pastor the other day that said you can either have a church, you can have a school. And, I kind of scratched my head over that. So you want a pastor for 1 day a week versus discipling for 7 days a week?
So integrate. You have your building for 7 days, so half the time it's not being used, so let it be used for a school.
But your role should not be just dealing with children in Sunday school 2 hours a day.
No. Right? It's
you got to really
amazing.
be focused on discipling them for the full week.
That's it, right.
So,
well, I'm just so, it's amazing what you do, Keith. We've crossed our paths for years now, and
I see your bus all over.
and we have a Jeep now too that has the back of it, so when we carry but anyway, I really quickly, well, first of all, I want to tell everybody, our audience your website again.
It's goflca.org.
Say go
FLCA.
FLCA.org.
Yeah, so go FL for Florida,
And then
Citizens Alliance, CA.
CA.
So go FLCA.
Okay, everybody needs to go and go and
And
and go
subscribe.
and subscribe and just go check out and get educated with truth and facts. You know, not emotion or conjecture. What we've always, I think we're all in a box sometimes, and we need to get out of the box and go thinking. But Keith, I'm just so thankful for you, especially as a man, that you're stepping up to the plate and going out and really doing, because you are very action oriented, and we like to talk truth and take action. But what you're doing is amazing and changing lives and changing Florida. And just just your whole action, what you're doing is amazing, and so I'm so appreciative. I really am, and
Well, thank you,
and so
Sue.
I want our audience again to know to go
FLCA.org.
FLCA.org.
Yeah. Okay.
And but thank you so much, Keith,
Thank you, Sue.
for being with us today.
Yeah.
God bless you for everything you do, and just remember, when we show up, we win. God bless you.